Joining us now is Lana Payne, the president of Unifor. Ms. Payne, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So here you are in Ottawa, as we said, talking about your budget priorities for 2023, 2024, but you're also talking a lot about affordability. Talk to us about that priority. Why are you discussing affordability? Really, what are you bringing to the table that politicians don't already know?
Well, I think there's a mood in the country right now, particularly among working people, where they've gone through, like everybody has, this, really a humongous crisis, the pandemic. And, we come out of that, people are struggling, there's anxiety, then we get high inflation, and now we're getting skyrocketing interest rates, which is causing a great deal of uncertainty out there. And, the possibility of these latest moves by the Bank of Canada shifting us into a recession. And we're already seeing some impacts of this, particularly in some of the sectors where Unifor represents working people. And, how much more pain can workers take? A pandemic and then a recession. I think we need to take a step back, analyze, have a proper conversation about what really is causing these problems with inflation, because I think the medicine that currently is being prescribed by the Bank of Canada is not what we need to be doing.
Okay, build on that, because you are pointing out the fact that when you look at the causes of inflation right now, it's arguably less domestic and more foreign.
Yes, absolutely. And in our experience, when you look at some of the nations who went in to basically raising their rates earlier and fast, their inflation has not come down because it's not addressing things like global supply chains. It's not changing the war in Russia or the war in the Ukraine. It's so piling on this pain on top of working people right now, is that really the smart thing we want to do? We want to be able to make sure people have good jobs, that they're able to lift themselves up at this moment in time with a tightening labor market. We've been able to do incredible things at the bargaining table as a result of this. But not keeping pace with inflation, wages, all of those things for 30 years, and you finally get a moment when you can do it, and we have the bank swooping in to do these things. So it's a very big challenge right now.
Well, in fact, you accuse the bank of engaging in class warfare right now.
Yes, I know, probably hard terms for the bank to hear, but the reality is that they're politicizing what they're doing. They had, the governor of the Bank of Canada made a statement, many weeks ago in which he, advised employers, don't worry about it, don't raise wages, don't get caught into these, putting inflation into long-term contracts. I'm like, come on. And then the second thing after that, last week, basically saying the only way we're going to solve inflation is through unemployment. What does he expect the labor movement and unions to say in response to that? Our job is to protect working people. And I actually don't think central bankers know what they're doing right now. I think they're hoping that by raising interest rates, it's going to have an impact. Well, hope is not good enough, and they're causing a lot of damage with these actions. So it's like, take a step back. Let's look at what is truly happening out there. And I'm very concerned that if we head into a recession right now, it's going to be very tough for a lot of people in Canada.
Okay, let's take a step back as well, because if what you are saying is that this current policy doesn't work, does it not run the risk of creating domestic inflationary pressures? If, for example, we allow or the bank allows inflation to be at the rate it is, if everybody bumps up salaries for employees, does that not then permanently make the high prices people are struggling with right now permanently high?
I think there's an equilibrium there, and also you have to start thinking about where these high prices are coming from. There's another part of this which the Bank of Canada refuses to talk about, and that's the corporate profiteering that's happening right now. I mean, if you look at the second quarter of 2022, corporate profits in Canada were at the highest level ever at 25% share of GDP. Previous, like before the pandemic, 5 years leading into it, the average was 15%. This is a huge problem, which is why some of the things we're saying to politicians this week is they have to find a way to capture some of that wealth and return it back to Canadians. We're doing our job at the collective bargaining table. They have to do more as well.
So in terms of policy, in terms of what you hope your meetings, because it's a week worth of meetings with,
Yes.
I believe, about 100 MPs while you're in Ottawa, what do you hope comes out of it in practical terms?
Well, there's a number of things that they can do. Fixing EI certainly is really important, especially if we're heading into a recession. We have to have a robust program to support workers
So it
in their
applies to more people than it currently does.
Exactly. And obviously around the corporate profit side, it's really important that they look at, for example, the excess profit tax that's currently applied to financial institutions and banks. They could put that on other sectors of the economy, capture some of that wealth, return it to, for example, low-income Canadians in targeted programming, and it could really help a lot with the fact that low-income folks deal with inflation and are impacted by it more than others. So there are things that we could do here, and without using the sledgehammer of higher interest rates against everybody.
Very quickly, losing time here, is your message catching on, do you think?
We've had some really great conversations, actually, with MPs from all across, from every single party. And I think they understand, too, the moment we're in. The problem becomes, what are the solutions? And so that's what we've been doing this week, giving them solutions.
Okay. Lana Payne, thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks so much.